Hello and welcome to episode 142 of the Mouse Makes Knitting podcast. My name is Mandy, sometimes known as Mouse, and I'm going to begin with a couple of apologies. Firstly, at the end of last week's podcast, I told you there would be a video of Poppy. I've had many panicked messages saying, I can't see it, why can't I see it? The reason you can't see it is that my editing software would not allow me to stitch the two things together. So what I had to do was I scheduled the podcast to go live at 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon and the short video of Poppy to go live at 3:30 on Wednesday afternoon. So it is a separate short. If you haven't seen it, and to my astonishment, well over 5,000 people have, 5,500 nearly. I will link it in the description box below this. Failing that, if you go to my channel and look at shorts, there she is, having her bath. While we're on the subject of Poppy, she has taken a little bit of a step backwards, but that's to be expected because we are this week in the 4th week of the injection action period, and we were told it would last for 3, possibly 4 weeks. So she's due back at the vets on Monday. We're hoping they'll give her the same injections again, and then because we've managed to get a little bit of weight onto her while she's been feeling better because of her injections. So the second apology is completely out of my hands. It is what they call leavers and prom day today. So all the children who are leaving school, they're not really leaving because they've got to stay on until they're 18 now, but all the year 11s in this country who are leaving, they finished their exams, they're having their leaving ceremonies today, their proms. They are all driving around town in fire engines, tractors, ice cream trucks, any kind of vehicle you can think of. People are arriving at prom in their prom dresses and their suits. Motorcycle cavalcades. There was a helicopter just now, but I'm fairly certain no one's arriving in a helicopter, though I'm not ruling it out 100%. So if there's a bit of extraneous noise, that's what it is. Because I've got the window open because it's very hot and very humid, so you might hear it, as we are a quarter of a mile from the school. So yeah, might be a bit noisy. Okay, knit-alongs. There is a Breezeway knit-along running. It runs until the 31st of August. I nearly said March, I don't know why. And a yarn show make-along, which is for anything that you're making with plans to wear to a yarn show. They are both running on my Ravelry page. There is a link to both the threads down below, and I will also post a link to a chatter thread ready for the Christmas in July make-along. That starts on the 1st of July, will run until the 31st. It has to be Christmassy, whether it's the colour, the name of the pattern, the theme, has to be Christmas themed. You can enter WIPs. You do not have to finish it before the end of July. There will only be one entry per person, and the entry thread will open on the 1st of July. What else do I need to say? You can hashtag it on Instagram. You will need to tag me in it. So all the information for that is in the description box below as well. But entries are only on the Ravelry entry thread, or if you can't use Ravelry, by email to me at mousesmakes@gmail.com. Okay, I have 3 projects planned so far, and I have finished Project Bedsock. I do not have it to show you because it has actually been delivered to the recipient this morning. I will put in a photograph here. These are all 4 pairs. I parcelled them up. I put in a little sachet of Eucalan that I'd come by, I don't remember how, and sent them off, and they have been delivered today. I won't say received because I think they're still intended to be a Christmas present. Do you hear that? Sounds like a foghorn. It'll be some truck. Anyway, I finished something else, but this I do actually have physically to show you. Now, this may be a bit of a surprise because this, when I showed it to you last week, it had come out of what I'm calling the pot of shame, which is linked to the shelf of shame. This was actually a pair of socks when you saw it last week. It is now a pair of mitts. The socks are the Scattering Petals socks by Dana Ray Makes, and I had knit that much. So I'd knit the leg. I'd also knit the heel flap, and I had done a few rows, maybe 5-6 rows of gusset. When I got them out, I realised this was not going to go around my ankles. So I converted them into mitts. Now there is a pattern. Dana Ray Makes has a sock pattern, a Scattering Petals cowl, and a pattern with mitts and a hat. But they are mittens, they are enclosed, and they have an enclosed finger. I don't own those patterns, I only have the sock pattern. But it was easy enough just to put in a gusset as I went, knit them to the size that I wanted, stick some ribbing on, go back, pick up the stitches, stick some ribbing on the thumb, and voila, a pair of Scattering Petals mitts. I haven't shared them with, I assume her name is Dana Ray. I haven't shared them with the designer as yet. I will do, because I don't think she will mind. I'm obviously not planning to market the pattern at all. I've simply adapted her pattern, which reminds me, I think I can enter this into Leslie's knit along. So they fit really, really nicely on my wrist. They would have been far too tight, far too tight for my ankles. They're not handed, they're both exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which hand I put them on. And I have plans to make more, because I see the potential for various different striping options. These are made in mostly minis from Ducky Darlings. These two, this one and the darker brown, they were leftovers from a shawl. Both Ducky Darlings yarns. This one is Lamb Lotto and the darker brown is Brew. This green was a mini from Diane at Utri Yarncraft that she just threw it in with an order. I did contact her to see what the colourway was called, but apparently it was just something she'd been playing with, because I would have had a sweater's quantity of that. I absolutely loved it. So I've popped that in there. All the others are from, what does she call them? Misfit Minis from Ducky Darlings. So all of these, apart from the green, are Ducky Darlings. And for the ribbing, I've used some of my own hand dyed that I dyed up for the Vertices Unite shawl. It doesn't have a name, I just dyed it. There were colours I wanted to go into the shawl and I just dyed stuff that would go in. So yeah, 1 finished object. 2 if you count Project Bed Sock. I do not have any other finished objects. I pulled out socks last week, and I have done some work on this one, which I was calling the Witching Hour sock, because the yarn that it's knit in is my own and was called Witching Hour. When you saw this, it had a short row heel of some description and, I don't know, a few rows, maybe 10 of the foot. Well, I pulled that all back. I didn't remember what heel I'd used. I was doubtful that I could replicate it, and I'm quite into heel flap and gusset at the moment. So I pulled it back and I put in a heel flap and gusset in the same yarn. Rather than using the contrast, I put it in the Witching Hour yarn. And I'm just working my way down the foot now. So that was all the sock knitting that got done, because I was a bit done with socks after Project Bed Sock had such a speedy finish to it, a bit of a sprint across the finish line. So I did that bit on those, and on this pair I haven't even touched them. These are the Colour Palette socks by Laurel Knits, and I haven't got round to them at all. So what I'm going to do, I'm drawing again today for my projects for the next week, but I'm not going to put the socks away. I'm going to keep them out and just work on them as and when, and try and get another couple of projects finished. They're short projects to work on, so I think that will work. I have freed up 2 spaces ready for my 3 Christmas in July, couldn't think what it was called, cast-ons. I'd like to get another one off the needles before the end of the month, which essentially means before the end of the week. So I think probably socks are my best bet. If I have to go over my 40, yes, you heard that right, 40 whip limit, then I will, because it's for something specific. There are a couple of things that I would also like to cast on, but I'm leaving them until I've finished some other stuff. I'm anxious to get them cast on, but I need to finish some stuff. Even if it's small stuff, I just need to finish some stuff. The other project that came out of the jar of shame last week was this cardigan. I'm not going to show you the picture. This is... That won't be an emergency. That will be someone arriving in a fire engine. It's the Sonnenstunden cardigan, and it is still called the Sonnenstunden cardigan. The tea has been renamed to the Sunshine Tea by Evie Knitwear, Evgenia Dupili. I've got quite a bit done. I could probably have got more done if I wasn't rushing to finish Project Bed Sock. I was there. I've put it on a shorter needle as well, because I was finding the longer needle, it was longer than I needed, and it was just making it awkward to knit. There was spare cable flapping about, so it's on a shorter one. Let's do it this way. I've knit that much. It's not bad in a week. I think I was somewhere up here when I started, so I've done about maybe a bit less than I did last time I worked on it. You can see the detail on the side better now. The yarn is James C. Brett and this is colourway 09, and I'm well on the way. For my size I need to knit 13 inches, which would be too short if this were a sweater, but I think as it's a cardigan that I'm planning to wear over dresses, I think that will be okay. I'm more than likely going to have some yarn left over, and I have some oddballs of it. My plan is possibly a blanket. I haven't decided yet whether to do a mitered square blanket or just like a granny stripe, because obviously the colours stripe themselves. I think mitered square is probably where I'm going to go, but who knows, I may change my mind. I have got quite a few blankets on the needles and a couple more planned besides this one. But I do love a blanket. I like to nap and I like to be cosy. So this is quite, it's knit on 4mm needles. This might even be 4.5. And it's quite a fine DK, but because of the halo, it knits to a DK gauge. I don't know if I hold it like that, you can see it. It's fairly open, but if you look at the fabric itself, you can't see through it because of the halo. I hope I've explained that well. I think a lot of people know of this yarn, and I know a lot of people have used it. I am a little bit concerned that when I was knitting with it in the evenings, I was finding my face and neck got a bit itchy, and I'm wondering if it's because it's got these wispy, can you even see that? Let me get it there. It's got those little wispies, which makes me a little bit anxious, as I am knitting both this cardigan and a tee in it at the moment. But should it be that I am not allergic but irritated by this yarn, I will just take an antihistamine and wear them anyway because I really like them. So, oh, I've got this much left of the first ball. I'd hoped that I might have got that little bit knitted in before I stopped, but I didn't quite manage it. Right, what else do I need to tell you? I'm going to pull the new projects from the jar, and then there's going to be a bit about the shop update, and also a reminder that the members Zoom is Thursday the 28th at 8 PM British Summer Time, which, if you're watching this on the day it comes out, is tomorrow. I have remembered this month to put a reminder in the group. I forgot last month. I remembered to don't start with tongue twisters, that's a bad idea. Right, so this is the sock one. I'm going to take that out because I'm hopefully going to work my way through these socks. Oh, I've also, how dry are they? Not very. I can't take them off, they're not quite dry. I've also finished my May squares. These are the Yarn Unique that came in May. You can't see them very well, and I can't take them off because they're still quite damp. And today I've finished crocheting up the June Mousewitch mini club squares, but I can't show you those till next week. There are still 2 boxes of those left in the shop, but some people who've ordered and may not have received them yet, so I'm going to wait till next week to show you. Okay, move that one out of the way because that's the cardigan. So if you're new to the Jar of Shame, the colour coding works this way. The orange are blankets. I'm not going to pull out a blanket because I'm working on 2 with my Year of Yarn colourways and the crocheted one at the moment, so I don't need to get into any long-standing whip type blankets. Yellow are left over from last year, and there's only 9 of those left. The blue are categories, so like with this one, all the socks that I had left over are on one piece of paper. So there's another one for all the tees, all the shawls, sweaters and cardigans. You get the idea. So I'm going to pull a yellow one and a blue one. Let's poke that one back in so I don't lose it. Okay, let's look at the yellow one first. So this is a leftover from 2023. What is it? Oh, it's my advent cowl. That'll be quite nice to work on while it's warm. I'm going to fish them out in a minute and I'll tell you all about it when I fish it out. And on the blue category is, this is miscellaneous. I've got a fly. This is miscellaneous. So on here are the totally cabled mitts, my Musselburgh, and the Sirdar poncho that I cast on just recently. So I'm going to try and get my AI friend to pick a project. This did not work very well last time. I'm going to pause you while I say her name so I don't set everybody's off, and then I'll quickly unpause you in case she says something. Pick a number between 1 and 3.
Here's a number between 1 and 3. It's 3.
Sirdar poncho. Okay, I'm now going to, I'll let you see, so you know I'm not cheating. I'm now going to get those projects out so that I can show them to you. Bear with me one moment. Okay, I have returned, looking slightly dishevelled. This dress is not very flattering, but it is quite cool, and we're due to have a very hot day today and tomorrow. I was supposed to be going to Taunton today, shopping with Ewan, but the last few times I've got very hot, I've felt not at all well and had to lie down. And like lie down now, which obviously I can't do if I'm in Taunton, so we've postponed it for a couple of days till the weather cools down. Right. The Advent cowl. Now, this is something of a Frankenstein garment because I've used a pattern. It's a free pattern. It's called the Morrison Scarf. I will link it below, as I do with everything that I mention. But it's a scarf, not a cowl. And so with one of my Advents, which I bought second-hand, as it were, it's by the Discreet Unicorn. It's 2022's Advent, and one of the colours was DK rather than fingering. It was obviously a mistake, but what I decided to do was use the fingering held double, so that when I get to the one that's DK, I can just knit with that one. So I've adapted 23 of the colours, 24, I think it's a 25-day Advent, to facilitate the one, but I've made it work. So this is what I have so far. It's a slip stitch pattern. It's very easy to memorise. I knit a scarf in it with another Advent that I finished January or February, I think. It's on my project page on Ravelry if you wanted to have a look. So yes, I have adapted it to make a cowl. It's going to be quite a long cowl because I do not have many days in it yet, and it's quite long. I'm trying to figure out how many days I'm getting out of each colour. Not sure. I will make a note as I'm knitting on it this week and let you know next week. Obviously the neon colours are from the Advent. The black is Yarnsmith's DK in black, which I was so pleased with. It's very soft. I have bought quite a bit more to make other things with, and it prompted me to buy some bottle green and some petrol-y blue to make a couple of cardigans. Unfortunately, and I've just been reminded of this because I came across the bag while I was looking for these, the petrol blue and the bottle green smell absolutely awful. They smell really chemically and not at all nice. So I'm hoping that once they're made up and I've washed them, they're going to be okay, because if I can't get rid of that smell, I'm not going to be able to wear them. It's really quite strong. But the black does not smell. It's got to be something to do with the dye, I would imagine. So essentially what I'm doing is knitting round and round and round, adding in the colours as I get to them. I'm literally joining the next colour, Russian joining the next colour onto the one that I'm just finishing. So there are no ends to sew in other than, you know, the start and the finish. And then when I get to the other end, I am going to, at least this was the original plan, Kitchener them together to make a cowl. However, I may, depending how long it is, change that plan and just stitch them up and have a scarf. It depends how long it is. At the moment, I'm thinking it's going to be way too long to be a cowl. Even, you know, a big Mobius loop it round 2 or 3 times type cowl. So that's one of the projects I'll be working on this week. I do not have the pattern in the bag because there is no pattern. I'm adapting a different pattern, but I will link the scarf pattern below. I'm trying to think who it's by and I cannot remember, but it'll be down below. Excuse me. The other thing that's come out is the Serdar Poncho. Now there is a pattern for this, which is again not in the bag. I had this brilliant idea, and into this folder I put lots of patterns that I was working on so that they wouldn't get squashed in the bags. However, I didn't do it with all the patterns that I'm working on, so that has made things slightly more complicated. Bear with me while I find it. It's in here somewhere. Probably right down at the bottom. Yes, indeed. Almost at the bottom. Okay. Balance that there for a minute. That will probably fall down in a minute and make a noise. So it's called the Bellflower Poncho. It's by Serdar and it's designed for the Jewel Spun Aran yarn. And it's very unlike me. I'm actually knitting it in Jewel Spun yarn. I have a huge amount prepared for you already. I have this much, which I think is just the collar. I don't think I've got further than the collar. I really enjoyed knitting it. I remember I really enjoyed knitting it. I have some doubts because I mentioned this when I cast it on and I showed it to you. I suffer from what I call clothes claustrophobia. So I do not like to be trapped in a garment. And as you can see, it's quite close fitting. So I'm not sure we're going to get on. I'm in 2 minds whether to knit something else with the yarn. The yarn is absolutely beautiful. I will show you the whole ball because we've not gone through all the colours yet in the knitting. So it's got my favourite blues and greens, and some nice pinky purple, which again, I do not hate. So it seems a shame to use it for something that I'm not going to wear. But I think the only thing I can do is keep knitting it. I am knitting the largest size, which is a little larger than I need. And I'm hoping that because it's, I'm pretty sure it's 100% acrylic. Let me look. Yes, it is 100% acrylic. Oh, and this colourway is Evening Jade. It might grow a little bit. My experience so far with 100% acrylic yarns is that when I wash them, if I wash them a little bit hotter than I'm supposed to, they do grow a little bit. So that's probably what I'm going to do. But I'm going to carry on working on it, even though I'm a little bit unsure, because I won't know unless I try, will I? And I do really love the colours. So those are the two projects for this week. And I'm looking forward to working on both of them. Right, that is all the knitting content for today. I'm now going to go on to shop update, and if that's something you're not interested in, feel free to leave. It's fine. You don't have to watch something you don't want to see. And thank you for joining us. I will see you next week. Right, if you're still here for the shop update, there are the usual things going in, and then there are some new things. Sorry, I've just realised, oh Lord, that I didn't get out the photograph, the inspiration photograph for the Mystery Mini Club. So, as I have that in my hand, let me show it to you now. This is for the July Mystery Mini Club. The Mystery Mini Club is 5 skeins of 5 20-gram fingering weight skeins. I realise I never say that. I just assume you all know. But since you're not mind readers, it's quite possible that you don't all know. Try not to shut that in there. The other thing that always goes in is the birthstone collection. And the birthstone for July is Ruby. So there is a variegated and a tonal. This is the tonal. And as I suspected, it's coming up a very corally colour on screen. It's not that coral colour. That's a bit more true colour. It is blowing out quite a bit. It's not that orangey. That's the tonal. I don't remember if I said that. And this is the variegated. And again, looking corally. Not corally. Let me hold it back there. That's better. If you can get it into the dark, it's not so blown out. So those are the two birthstone colourways for July. There is also one single one-of-a-kind skein, which is this one, which again is blowing out. It's a lavendery pink, I suppose. Let me do my holding it back here trick. Oh, actually, I've just thought, if I turn that round, that helps sometimes, doesn't it? Does that help? No. Not today. I should just have to do this. There is variegation within it. There is only one of these, and it's a non-repeatable. So if you want it, grab it. There won't be any more. And then there is a new leather item going into the shop, and it is this, which is for putting your cable needles into in your bag, the one that you're not working with. So if you are doing a rib and you've got a smaller needle, quite often you have to change needles in a project, and if you don't have a pocket in your bag, most of my bags don't have pockets, those cable needles tend to get tangled up in your knitting. So Dave has invented this. You pop your needle in there, coiled up, put that through the coil, it can't come out and it stops it getting tangled up. At the moment these are available in black or brown. I don't have a black one to show you. They may, if they're popular, they may be available in other colours subsequently. Cable not included. Despite the fact that, because I'm going into my old projects, I'm finding millions of needles, that may be a slight exaggeration, a lot of needles that I'd been looking for, and other things. There's a tin of little stitch markers I've been looking for about 6 months. Found that. So yeah, that is most of what's going in. There are then some new mini skeins in, how am I going to, tonal gradient sets. Now, I'm not going to show you them individually because I've put them in bags. They're in cellophane bags which crinkle, and then the light shines on them and you can't see. So I'm going to put in a picture here of the different colours. There's light green, a dark green, pink, bright pinks that start off with a shocking pink, purples, plums, which are pinky purples, dark blues, and blues, lighter blues. I think that's all of them. As with the Skies and Vibes collections, there will be more later on in the year that are kind of season specific. So some autumny ones, probably some Christmassy ones. But as yet, that's where I am. That's where I'm sticking because I've got Advents to do. Which reminds me, the Advents are coming down on Sunday, which is when the shop update is. That would be helpful information, wouldn't it? Sunday the 30th of July. I don't know what time. Depends what time I remember to do it. The Advents will be coming down, and there will be, for next month only, the option of a full skein to add to your Advent. And then it's done. Then I can get on with dyeing them up. Once I know what my figures are, I can get on with dyeing them up. And that, I'm pretty sure, is everything. I'm going to check my list though. Yes, that is everything. Wow, 38 minutes. I've done quite well today. I always start off thinking I've got absolutely nothing to talk about. And then towards the end, I'm thinking, oh God, I've gone on for ages. I need to be quiet now. Okay. Nothing else of import to tell you. So I will see you next week. And until I do, have the weather you want. That's all I'm going to say. I know some of us like hot. Some of us are not so good with it. So yeah, I hope you get the weather you want. And I'll see you next week. Bye guys.